Let's talk about Inside California's new model, Prisneyland.
It's exactly what you would expect. Big fence, barbed wire, and of course, gun towers, like a prison postcard or something.
So it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. We're about 10 minutes away from going inside to Valley State Prison, supposedly one of the most progressive prisons in all of the country. The nickname is...
Can't wait to see what a progressive American prison looks like. I suspect it won't be very progressive.
Prisneyland, although from the outside, it looks pretty standard, but we'll see what the inside looks like. Let's go. Thank you.
Right inside, not much difference.
This is the deadly high voltage electric fence, apparently. Obviously, don't want to touch this.
But the more you get to know Prisneyland, which officials say some locals refer to it as, you realize the first barriers coming down aren't actually physical.
And as we were talking, we don't really call them inmates here. Incarcerated.
Oh my God, dude, this is awesome. Bro, this is like an Onion skit. Oh my God. They don't call, wait, what?
Incarcerated individuals.
And that's where the difference is between this prison and others around California.
Bro, they made prison gay. How is that possible?
Just begin. When people get out, they have extreme difficulties finding a job. And while the data varies state by state, about half end up back in custody within a few years. All of that is why officials say the Golden State is trying to move in a new direction, starting a pilot program at 2 facilities with the goal to replicate the results in Scandinavia, where Norway says reforms over the last 2.5 decades have brought down the rate of...
Dog. It's not the language that they use in the Norwegian jails. Have you seen a Norwegian jail? There's no like electric wiring fence, first of all. That still looks like a regular old California penitentiary. What are we talking about?
Of reoffending within 2 years to only 20%, much lower than here in the U.S. They've also decreased the prison population significantly and have helped people reincorporate into society after they serve their time.
By the way, that's the Norwegian prison.
You have a key to your own cell.
Yeah, everybody has their own key.
Authorities here say the most important thing they're trying to change at Valley State Prison is how it feels.
This is the central courtyard.
Yeah.
I feel very peaceful just looking at it.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Am I recording?
You're on, man.
Officials told us the only way to truly understand the reforms is by coming and experiencing them.
One of the principles of the California model is normalization, and the idea is we want to make the environment inside our...
Bro, it's so gross that this is like the worst prison in Europe. And this is the best prison, I guess, in America. And like automatically, it's still the worst prison in Europe so far. I got to see the living
institutions
quarters.
as normal as possible.
I mean, quick question. Is there solitary confinement? If the answer is yes, boom, that should be illegal. It's torture. It's unacceptable. And it's still the awful Garbo prison.
With the goal of not releasing somebody who's institutionalized, but releasing citizens back to the community who have practiced normal pro-social behavior.
What about the argument that somebody might see this and say, well, isn't part of the goal punishment in some way? Why give them all of this nice stuff?
What nice stuff? Sports? That's a nice stuff that they got. Basketball and a soccer ball? What is the, I haven't seen the nice stuff. Is it here? Is it in the video? I mean, I feel like prison yard sports is like one thing that has always existed, right? Am I crazy? I feel like that's pretty commonplace. That's the norm, right? I mean, there was that Adam Sandler movie and stuff like that. Like, they've always had sports in prison, right?
So I would say that people go to court to be punished. That's up to our judges and our juries. And when they come into our institutions, our goal is to basically help them become better citizens. So with that in mind, we are not in the punishment business. We're in the rehabilitative business.
A big part of that rehabilitation, a wide array of programs where the population learns a variety of coping and
Okay, this part's not that bad.
calming skills.
And she is a good horse.
Did you know you
This
were
is
going to
actually
be
good.
grooming horses in prison?
No, to be honest, I thought I'd be stuck in a cell, maybe a few rehabilitation groups, but it helps me, cope with, a lot of stresses I deal with, day to day here in prison.
The hope is that creating a more positive environment makes the men
They are playing basketball inside. Come on. Wait, what? You can't be serious. I can't tell if you're joking. The only things that I've seen so far that are like beyond the pale for normal prison is this stuff. You're probably joking. This stuff is actually a little bit unique to American prisons, and I do think it's a good thing overall. Not just the horses. I'm not being like a horse girl or whatever. I'm saying like VR, horses, like grooming program, things of that nature, like
locked up here more willing to rehabilitate. Of the total incarcerated population of 3,000 here, the prison says 2,400 are enrolled in training or education programs, including high school and college.
I'm a fan of that. Education programs are good. Training programs are good in prison. Those are good
The
things.
rest of our lives, we can start our day at any time.
When you came in and you saw what this was, what was your impression?
I thought I was going to come to prison and get worse, but coming to prison actually saved my life.
Wow. Say it again.
Coming to prison saved my life.
Since they started running these programs in 2017, Valley State Prison says it's reduced violence compared to other peer facilities. According to reports from the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, prisons across the state have seen between 15 and 32 homicides total each year between 2017 and 2021. At Valley State, 0. And only 1 recorded assault or battery against staff versus the hundreds at other facilities.
Get in the middle, you guys are gonna circle me.
One of the most successful programs is dog training. Inmates working with puppies to become
Okay, that's a little crazy, bro. They're training the dogs that are going to bite them.
service dogs, eventually sent to help people across the country.
Oh, okay. It's just service dogs. Never mind. I thought they were making the inmates train the attack dogs, bro. I was like, damn, that's crazy. Also could backfire dramatically on you. You know what I mean? Like,
For a long time, we were releasing citizens back into the community that had not
don't do it. Don't train these dogs. You're training them to do crimes, brother.
improved their thought process. They had not rehabilitated from their behavior, and they go out and reoffend. And so when you start to introduce rehabilitative programs, when you start to introduce hope into this community, you really are transforming their thought process.
Come on. Show me the living quarters, brother. Let's go. This part, they're really hamming up because it is good. Also, the bare minimum, like this is the bare minimum standard for the rest of the world. And I cannot believe that this is so good. It is above and beyond for American prisons, and it is successful and it will be successful, but it should be accompanied with living quarters that resemble normal living quarters. It should be accompanied with no solitary confinement. You know what I mean? This stuff is good. I'm being impartial here, but some of the major problems here would be what the food looks like, whether you can even cook your own food. Do you have an opportunity to exercise autonomy and individualism? Because a big part of the problem with the prison system is that you become a number. Not to get too much like Foucault here, but I mean, our prison system, our education system, and our military resemble similar structures that are breaking down the barriers of individualism, and it more so is like dehumanizing you. So one of the ways that you're supposed to ensure that these guys are not reoffending is by allowing them to exercise independence and autonomy of a certain degree. That's why in the Norwegian prison, they showed you you have a key to your own room. That's a supremely beneficial minor thing that is so important. Like having an element of privacy, for example. It makes you human. It reminds you that you're human.
We followed a few of the dog trainers back to their cells. The doors lock from the outside, but they look a little more like something else.
Feels like a dorm.
Yeah, definitely.
This does not feel like a dorm. What are you talking about? I mean, at least they're not all in the same living quarters, but that automatically eliminates this being a dorm right there. What dorm are you talking about? That's just a regular jail.
Yeah. Did you expect that when you came in?
No.
So right now we are walking your dog past the pool table, back to your...
I'm gonna be honest with you. These dogs are not being trained well. This dog is pulling. That's not good training. These dogs haven't even learned not to pull.
Right now we are walking your dog past the pool table, back to your spot in prison. It's pretty wild. So is this like the dog wing? It almost feels like to a lot of people that might watch this that
They're too easy on it.
yes.
Okay, laptop in the room. That's a good. That's a
I would
bonus.
say no, because a lot of us worked our ways down.
Sure.
So I came from a higher level, and it took me 7 years to come down to this.
People that are gonna see this and say, shouldn't prison be a punishment? In some way. It should be.
Okay, how about you stop saying that? I know that like you're supposed to get them to be like, no, it shouldn't be or whatever. It's still a punishment, but like, goddamn, now it's starting to make me feel like you're saying that.
Reformation too, but it should also be, it should suck.
Yeah, it sucks, man. You can't leave. Like, what do you mean? That's it. That's the punishment. You can't leave. There's no bigger punishment than restricting your freedom of movement. Why can't Americans understand this? Is it because they're all fat couch potatoes? What the going on? People literally just have no concept of this. Restriction of movement is a fundamental thing that is taken from you. That's it. That's like, you can't just be like, hey man, I'm in the mood for some Starbucks today. And you can't just like walk down the street to go get that. You don't even think about it because you're free. You're free to do it whenever you want to, even if you don't exercise it. But like when it's taken from you, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, that's really bad, actually. Yeah, and they still have bunks, by the way. I don't know if they're sleeping in them or I don't know what's going on, but it still doesn't look great.
Right?
Yeah, so-
This doesn't suck.
It does suck.
It does suck. Okay, tell me why.
It does suck, right? I don't get to hug my family.
Right.
Would you rather want somebody coming out and getting
Thank you, Jesus Christ.
reformed, or somebody coming in and getting out the same way they came in, or worse?
Steve Patterson.
That's insane. He said, this doesn't suck. Okay, let's trade places then. Like, what do you mean? This doesn't suck? You're in a prison. Like, you think it's tight? What's going on? You think you can stay there? What is this, a Mr. Beast video? What's happening? Chatters be like, what are you talking about? I'm in a mental prison at the top of the hour every time you hit me with a 3-minute ad break, and I can't get out of it. So they have no way of conceptualizing how devastating it is that you can't move around freely and do things that you want to do. All of those dudes at Prisneyland in the California penitentiary are stuck because they're watching me in the common hall on their computer, on one computer that they're sharing, and they can't even subscribe because they're in prison. I understand that every case is complex, but the Chris Watson, Peter Scullys of the world shouldn't be on a Norwegian-ass holiday. It's not a holiday. So yes, the answer is yes. The idea, even if everyone can't be rehabilitated, the idea should be that you operate as though they can. Does that make sense? Because the overwhelming majority, like 99% of people in prison aren't the examples that you mentioned. Of course, just like every law doesn't stop crime from happening and make it so that like there's zero crime, prisons are not going to rehabilitate every single person. The goal should always be to try and rehabilitate every single prisoner, no matter how gruesome their crimes are. And this is something I believe in. It's also the reason why I believe in rehabilitation of chatters as well. Even when they come in here and say ridiculous, unhinged shit, even if they have opinions that I don't agree with, I might yell at you in that very moment. But ultimately, I do believe that if you stay in here long enough, if you stick around, you're going to be convinced. You're going to have your mind changed. It's something that I abide by in my own life. It's something that I believe in. I believe in rehabilitation of people who have done wrong in the past, whether it be like actual crimes, like I have mentioned, or whether it be like, things that are worse than crimes in the minds of leftists online, like people that used to be right-wing, or people that used to slur, or people that have said and done awful things, but have attested for them and have recounted those experiences and tried to become a better person. So turn the prisons into I can fix them type shit. Yes, that's the funniest way to approach what I'm saying. My fiance was shocked that the Norway mass shooter was sentenced to 25 years, which I believe is the max. No, I mean, they have, at the end of the 25-year process, and I don't even think it's 25, I think it's 15. There is a board that looks at it and says, has this person been rehabilitated effectively? And then they reassess. And obviously the Norwegian terrorist dude is probably not going to get out. It's just the most like, it's the maximum punishment that you can give. What is it? 21 years, someone said? And then at the end of the 20 years or 21 years, you still, you get an additional assessment, a reassessment. I agree with you, but it's hard for me not to want the worst for those who have wronged my loved ones. Yeah, well, that's what being an adult is all about, is overcoming those things. It's the basic distinction between the main schools. A lot of conservatives think people are bad. Liberals think people are rational. Socialists think people are good. I mean, I don't think people are bad or good. I think people are operating on their own interest. But ultimately, everyone has the capacity to do things that I believe are quote-unquote good, I guess. The goal is to examine and solve the underlying problems that create or that make it more likely for people to engage in violent actions or actions that are declared criminal. Like, I don't think that there is any genuine difference between someone born in the south side of Chicago to a broken home versus someone that's born into a very wealthy family in Connecticut, let's say. There's no real difference, but their material conditions, part nurture and part nature, I guess. Well, their material conditions and their environment is what turns them into who they are, and it is what turns them into or their opportunities, their educational opportunities, their job opportunities, what causes them to move in a certain direction.